Hey there, everybody. It's Chloe with Reader Dog Training, and I have a question that was posted under our, do you have a question? Do you have a dog question post yesterday? And here is my answer to this one person's question, Christina. She asked, how do I get my 3-year-old lab to stop jumping on people when they come to our house? This is a super common issue with a lot of dogs, and when people have guests over, dogs get excited because they love the people and they jump all over and just blah blah blah, just running amok, right? Just probably doing circles in your living room and whatnot. And for some, maybe this is cute, but for a lot of people, it can be really annoying. And let's face it, jumping on people is dangerous, especially if you have a big dog that can knock over people, knock over kids, maybe an elderly person, hurt somebody, scratch them just by getting too excited. So this is a behavior we want to make sure that we tackle and that put an end to right away, especially if you have a big dog. Little dogs need to learn manners too, though. But of course, bigger dogs pose a bigger threat. So, how do you get a dog to stop jumping? Well, there's a few tactics we could do, but really, just to get your dog to stop jumping, there has to be a consequence, right? There has to be a punishment. You can't use food to get your dog to stop jumping. You can't just redirect because it really doesn't teach the dog that jumping is inappropriate, right? It's dangerous. We have to keep that in mind. The risk factor is high. So we have to make sure that we punish the behavior. How do we punish it? How do we correct it? How do we tell them nope? Well, a verbal no is great, but if your dog doesn't know that no is valuable, then it doesn't make a difference to the dog if you're saying no. So in order to make the no valuable, we need to correct using, you can use a variety of different tools to tell your dog no, to make it valuable. You could use a pet convincer, right? So it's just an air canister, and all it does is, so when your dog jumps, you spray it, and for a lot of dogs it works great. Some dogs it doesn't, so if that's something you want to try, you can try that. You could also use a bonker, rolled up towel, Google it, toss it at the dog, hit the dog with it. You're not hurting your dog, it's a rolled up towel. You're just telling the dog no, okay? So, or you can do a leash pop correction, right? You use a prong collar, it's typically what we use, and you give a firm correction, making the act uncomfortable. So no matter what tool you use, you want to make the act of jumping uncomfortable. You want to make it there has to be a consequence to tell your dog, no, this is inappropriate, you can't do that, that's a behavior that we no longer ever will allow, okay? So those are some pretty quick ways to get your dog to stop jumping. There's some people will say turn around, knee them. Those work they rarely ever work. And if they do, they usually don't last very long. You have to make the act uncomfortable, okay? Bring value to that no. Now, the other thing I would mention as far as overall excitement and just, this high energy when people come over, here's what I like to tell my clients to do. And that would require some more work on your part, but the idea is to, when you have guests over, I want you to crate up your dog about 30 minutes, 15 to 30 minutes before your guests arrive. You typically know when people are coming over. So get them in the crate, get their mind to start calming down, just relax and be chill. That way when your guests come, they're locked away, right? They're put away. So that way when your guests come over, you just greet your guests, get them their drink, show them their hors d'oeuvres, whatever it is, welcome your guests without being distracted by having to deal with the dog, okay? Let them relax, especially when you first have people over, because there's a lot of excitement already just for the people. So that can actually build more energy in the dog if you allow them to be a part of that process, right, of them entering the home. So keep them in the crate, and then I want you to keep them in the crate for another 30 minutes to an hour, or however long you want to do when your guests come over. Do your thing, have a conversation with your guests. When your guests come over, it is not about the dog, it is about your guests. So don't get so focused on making sure the dog is a part of the party, okay? It can be fun, but it doesn't have to be that way, okay? Especially because some people just aren't super comfortable with dogs. And some dogs aren't super comfortable with being social. It's okay for your dog to be put away. But if you want to, allow them, enjoy some time with your friends, keep them in the crate. And then when you're ready, at least wait 30 minutes at least. Okay, preferably an hour. Then bring your dog out, put them on place, right? So if you want to learn place command, look it up. I'm sure I got lots of videos on that. So put them on place. Do that for another 30 minutes. No one's allowed to approach the dog on place as they're still trying to calm down, bring down the energy, right? So they can exist with you and your company, but not necessarily be so all over everybody. Then once they've had at least 30 minutes, maybe another hour, whatever, then you can let them free. Break them from the command, allow them to hang out with you, but be on top of them in case they do still get, any high energy or jumping or whatever. Be on top of them. If you cannot supervise your dog, don't bother having them out. Just enjoy your time with your friends. There's no need or requirements, for them to be a part of every single part of your life. Although that's, we love that. But, this is your time for your guests. So don't take time away from that, with your dog. Okay, so if you can supervise, great. If not, leave them in their crate. Leave them on place. Whatever you got to do. But anyways, those are some tips on how to get your dog to stop jumping and overall be well behaved when you have guests over at your house. Hope that was helpful. If you have any more questions, feel free to drop them below.